A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend, Constitutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, and I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show!
Hello, everybody. With me today is D.C. Gomez. I won't hold it against her initials being the same as the Washington, D.C. swamp. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's not hold it against me. Come on now.
But she is here today. If you're looking behind the scenes video, you can kind of see the cover of the book there as I hold it up to the camera. Why not kick off your week with the right mindset? If I need new glasses, I think. If I could, as my audience knows, I don't script, but I do have notes to get me started. And yes, indeed, trying to read this if my eyes will cooperate. So let's try that again. Why not kick off your week with the right mindset? I like that idea, right? With so many distractions, oh my God, my brain and my mouth don't want to work, don't want to cooperate. Distractions affecting our days, it can be difficult to follow our dreams. Enjoy these quotes and reflections to help you stay motivated and focused. Enjoy Monday Motivations, inspirational quotes to start your week right. I like that idea. There it is again, trying to hold it up to the screen. And so welcome to the show, DC.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Let's start with the obligatory, where were you born? Where were you raised? Where are you now kind of stuff?
Okay, so I am originally from the Dominican Republic. I grew up in Salem, Massachusetts, so I have like the witch
and you managed to not be burned as a witch, huh?
Thank you. I think I should give points for that. Went to college at NYU, joined the military. I feel like I've been all around the country with the military, and now I live in Texas. So it's kind of that exciting around the world from New England all the way down to Texas. So it's been a blast.
Just for the behind the scenes, we are recording today. Let me look at the calendar, get the exact date right. Wednesday, January the 22nd, even though this will air much later. My understanding, Texas was to get some snow.
Don't say those things.
Did you get that? You didn't get it yet then.
We have missed, thank the Lord. We got some sleet last week. We were supposed to get snow yesterday, and hopefully it just goes around. So I'm in the northeast corner. Houston did get snow. I'm hoping it goes around me, because if not, I'll be shut down for like 5 days into a house. Yeah,
they're not used to it there. I had heard Houston was to get 3 inches yesterday or something like that. So if it passed there, hopefully the entire state gets a we dodged a bullet, huh?
We're hoping. Houston got some. I also heard New Orleans. So I'm in the 4-state region. So I'm right next to Louisiana. So New Orleans got some snow. So we're hoping it's just states in those fluke areas that we don't know why is there. But yes.
So what was your motivation for Monday Motivations?
This is actually kind of a really fun story. I have been sending newsletter motivations to my readers for a couple of years. And it became one is like, what, as an author, you're supposed to communicate with your readers, but what do? I am addicted to motivation quotes. And I'm in several newsletters that they send. I'm like, it would be really fun to send it to my readership. And because I like to be a little bit different, I can say that honestly. It was a quote with a reflection. And that's kind of how it started. I would send the quotes and kind of reflect it. And every Monday, my readership would get it. Some had more feedback than others. I had people come back and said, I needed this today. That was on point. That was perfect. And a couple of people was like, you should put this into a book. Honestly, when people say that, you're like, I'm good. I'm good. After getting enough of those replies, you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to put this into a book. So here we are. We're going to put this into a book. And then kind of how we're going to process all this. So yes.
Sounds familiar. I'm Jokester Joe on Savaged Unfiltered, and we had Bill Williams on just the other day. He's an old IT guy. I'm a former IT guy, and he did that too years ago. He's been doing 20 years of different type jokes and motivation comments or whatever to keep in communication with his newspaper people, his book people, and whatnot. And the same concept thought came to him and makes sense. So he's putting his 20 years of internet quotes out in a 10-book series. Holy cow, that's a lot of quotes. So, but 20 years of doing it, think daily, Monday through Friday. So that would build up a lot of stuff over 20 years. And I like that too. I do a Terror Strikes Insider thing with my readers, which is a sporadic, only on occasion kind of thing. I didn't commit to sending them something every week, although with terrorism still, I mean, on all over, I could find it happening somewhere every day to send out an update. But at the same time, I didn't want to overload them with that kind of negativity. At the end of the day, even though my primary book is about terrorism, I like to say it's not about death, but life and living. It's about faith and hope, not murder, death, destruction. So I don't want to drag people down sending out terror updates every 5 minutes. You know, it's like I don't want to sell fear porn. I want to sell hope. And that's why it attracted me to you. I like the Monday motivations thing.
It's one of those things that I think every once in a while we just need a fresh take on it, because it's easy, like you said, to get stuck in the fear monger, and you get it from everywhere. So every once in a while, like, start the Monday with somebody telling you that you're amazing, that you can do this, that you're meant for greatness, that you can take a leap. I think this week's motivation was from, Dr. Martin Luther King, that said, just keep moving. You know what I mean? He's all about, like, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. Then just move, and that's something that a lot of my readership is like, I needed that. I just needed to remember that to reach my dreams. I just needed to take a step. And it doesn't have to be a huge step. A little step will get you there eventually. So yes.
Based on when we're recording, Martin Luther King Day was just a couple days ago, as of the time we're speaking now. So obviously that made sense to send out. And you try to coordinate in time other particular important dates or themes like that.
I usually do, especially for those who are reading in the US. When it's done, like, I have readership outside, so I have to make sure that I'm telling them, like, happy Thanksgiving. If you're in the US, we're celebrating at this point in time because it's different across the world. So I tried to make it relevant and kind of why is this important? If it's a holiday in the US that falls on a Monday, this is why we're celebrating. Oh, this is what it meant. Oh, this is a reflection on it. I know usually when we have, Labor Day, or when we have, Memorial Day, why is the impact for us? Take a moment to reflect, not on just the people that passed away in a war, but the people in your life. Take a moment to celebrate the ones that you love and remember why they're there.
Yeah.
So it's taking everyday things that sometimes I think we take for granted, and just taking a moment to remember them and why it hits your soul, besides having time to make barbecue.
Yeah. And for those on video, we can see you're here intact, thankfully. You made it through your service with maybe only a few minor dings and dents, right? And probably some great stories, but not for this show. And so obviously Veterans Day week and things like that would be an important mention. Because again, like you said, the other nations' holidays don't always coincide with the U.S., but they have coincided such holidays. So while it may not apply that particular week to them, they can relate to whatever sentiment is associated with it.
One of those things that I enjoy about my newsletter is giving them an opportunity to reply back. Every year during the holidays, I ask anybody who wants a holiday card. I know shipping and snail mail is no longer popular, but for a person that gets millions of junk mail, anytime somebody sends me a card, I celebrate it. So it has been a 5-year tradition just to be shipping mails. Like some years I have sent as little as 50. Some other years I send 300. So it depends. And because I'm old fashioned, like I want to address these cards and like make a little note. I'm like, this year I got a stamp to help me out because I think I had like 100. I'm like, we're going to stamp some of these messages because I might be here a minute, and kind of getting connection with people. And hopefully they get something excited in the mail besides a bill.
So now we are again recording in January, not sure when this will drop. So is the book chronological from a first week in January type thing? So they line up with things like that? Or are they haphazard and random that the book doesn't follow the calendar? So people could buy in the middle of June and you won't be talking about Thanksgiving in April.
This one, fortunately, is just quotes of motivations. It doesn't actually correlate with our regular calendar. So you don't have to worry about, oh my God, I missed the season or I needed to start here. That's not that kind of calendar. I figure if you're going to pick up 60 quotes to get you excited, you can just pick it up whenever you need that motivation. I have a friend who read the entire book. He's like, I couldn't wait 60 weeks to finish. I was like, I think that's perfectly okay. You can read your book however you feel like it. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. No, that's not bad though either, because people then are likely to have their favorites then from the books, and then hopefully they can repeat them to others as motivations, hopefully remembering to accredit where they got them.
I've had readers that have sent me messages that said, my Monday motivation emails they share with their kids. And I'm like, that is so sweet. How old are your kids? Like, are you sending them this email? Do they have emails? And they're like, oh, they're grown. I'm like, okay, just confirming that you're not sending an email to like a 10-year-old who's probably going, delete, mom, don't send me emails kind of thing.
That's good. That's true. Probably right. So, but I guess since you mentioned potential for children, is it a PG-13 thing or
This is definitely
R?
G.
Okay.
Motivation is definitely G. But let's be honest. While the pictures are beautiful, they have really great colors, so you can enjoy them. How many 10-year-olds do you know are looking for Monday motivations? I'm sure there are some. I just haven't met many that are going, I need some motivation on Monday because, they're just waiting for Friday. If I had a Friday motivation or a weekend book, it would be a bestseller with them. They don't care about Mondays.
Yeah, well, like the 18 to 25 range wants a book of discounted drink coupons for their motivation, right?
For really good recipes for drinks, that would be a good one, like a sale. I was like, yeah, it's not that group.
All right. Well, let's pivot from that, because people looking behind the scenes on the video at BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, Daily Motion, or YouTube can see in your background the Cat Lady special book. So we were dog people growing up. Then our family became cat people because cats are just a lot easier to deal with. They're a lot less immediate needs all the time, right? So being a cat family also, that book intrigues me. I was going to say entices me. The brain and the mouth, they're just the one, but it intrigues me. So let's talk a little about the Cat Lady special book.
So I think I need to kind of preface to everybody that I'm a multi-genre kind of author. So yes, while I do motivations, I do children's books. I also do contemporary as my cat lady and also urban fantasy. So you get a little bit of everything from all different age groups. The cat lady is for anybody who doesn't like fantasy and is trying to figure it out what book from DC Gomez should I pick up. I write action-packed, quirky characters. So this cat lady special is from cat lady, depressed cat lady to arms dealer. That's kind of what I'm going to tell you. So the premise, it is the concept.
That sounds interesting and intriguing. Maybe in my next terrorism book, I can work your arms dealer lady in. We could do a joint venture, maybe.
I was saying, never dismiss sweet little old ladies because you don't know what they're carrying in those purses, especially if they're in Texas. Just giving you some hints. So this is that concept, starts kind of dark as she contemplates, what should I be doing with my life? I'm depressed, don't have anything to do. And there's a knock at the door. So she goes from finding herself to now starts to selling some guns. So as people needs to be aware, it is definitely dark comedy. It is a bunch of older ladies because it's her mom and her mom's friends running guns in Texas. So you have to be aware.
The Golden Girls meet Dirty Harry.
Pretty much, actually, that one nailed it.
Kind of a Golden Girls with a Dirty Harry personality or whatever. But it's
they're the silver hair gang and they're going wild in Texas. Because let's be honest, who says no to grandma?
True. You're right, you sweet little old lady, but yeah, once you cross one.
Thank you. So you understand. So this is a fun story of pretty much, I call it my second chance at yourself. What happens when you have nothing to lose? What will you do to take care of your family and the ones that you love? So that's what that one's all about. And it's a blast for anybody who enjoys dark comedy. So just kind of go with that scenario that it's going to be wild ride.
Uh-huh. Okay, so let's just keep pivoting. You mentioned a fantasy genre. Is that a line or just one book right now? Or
no. Let's go. So let's go to my Reapers universe because I do urban fantasy. This one takes place in Texas, of course, because why not? It's a big state. We can go crazy.
So it's not quite entirely fantasy.
Maybe a little. Locations are real. We're protecting all the guilty.
Yeah, so we're not talking a whole different world or.
This is one urban. It stars in small town in Texas, Texarkana. We're taking you on a trip from Texarkana. We go from New York City to San Diego's and even hell. Why not? But it's based on it's based on the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So this is a complete series. We have 5 novels, 3 novellas, and the series is called the Intern Diaries.
That would be over your right shoulder there, then I take it. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. You want to go ahead and grab that and hold it up to the camera?
I'm going to be attached to my mic. So yeah, but
okay.
Yes, I might actually be like, we're going to just leave the poster in the back. So the Intern Diaries, book 1 is called Des Intern. And it is pretty much, I have a young lady who has left the military, has moved to Texarkana. And she accidentally, she didn't mean to do it. She didn't know she was doing it. Kills Des' old intern. Now there's a knock at the door. As you can tell, I have a thing about knocking on your door literally and having to answer that. So Deb has a job offer for her. Do you take it? So she needs to decide whether she's going to become Des' new intern. And she had no intention of doing that. That was never her plan. Unfortunately, she has one friend that's kidnapped and nobody cares to find him. And the only people the resources happens to be Death, a talking cat named Constantine, and the boy genius Bartholomew that now she's going to get stuck working with to find her friends. So that's how the madness starts for Isis.
Very interesting. So like Grim Reaper's intern.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So the good news about it, and I think everybody asked me, is Death going to run on a murder spree in Texarkana? Death is actually the only one of all the horsemen who's not killing anybody. Death's job is to take your soul to wherever you're going to go in your next destination. So Isis is responsible for anything stopping Death's mission to fix it. Just happens to have a bunch of rogue witches in book 1 going crazy. We got zombies in book 2. A little bit of madness here and there. So action-packed, super fun. And just, what happens if there's an entire supernatural world in your backyard that you had no idea about? This is it.
What gave you the writing bug? At what age did you get it? What do you remember? What kind of, I really want to write things. Do you remember that moment of realization?
So I have been a storyteller since I think I was 14 or 15. I can say that much. I was started in high school at a TV club. I was doing TV shows at an access stations. So I have been writing short stories since I can remember. My dad has joked about that I have a very ghostly imagination since I can remember. He's like, we need to work on this. So he has been joking about it forever. I went to college for film and television, and I managed to join the military right after college, except that 9/11 happened. So added their life, death, and everything that changed. And it took me about good 15 years to get back into the creative role and be able to start. And because, making films is quite expensive, writing stories became a lot more affordable. So here we are.
Have you written a screen adaptation of anything?
So I am in the process of working on Cat Lady in terms of that script. So that is the one I'm working on now for this year. So yes, that has been
Convenient segue ties it together. That's good.
So
yeah.
yes. And we didn't rehearse this. Imagine that. So that is a project that I'm working on, is that screenplay for Cat Lady.
Okay, so if it comes to the silver screen, who would you envision your first choice to be your Cat Lady star?
Oh, that is a tough one. Because she needs to be classy, elegant, and sassy, all in that combination, and very good with guns. So I'm still trying to figure out who that person would be that just makes you go, okay. So still up in the air for that one, but yes.
Yeah, well, I think to ask it because there's a site called Story Rocket. Are you familiar with it at all?
I've heard that one. No.
Okay, yeah, storyrocket.com. My Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You book is listed there. It's a site that helps you get before producers, directors, actors, actresses, and the like. And one of the questions they ask you, if your book were to be brought to the screen, who do you envision in these roles? Even if they don't get those people, they've got an idea of who you're thinking your character fits. Again, like I said, I don't script. The rabbit holes open and we dive down them, and that just happened to conveniently come along. I didn't mean you put you on the spot there. So there's your homework. Get back to us. Who's your cat lady?
I'm on a work. I'm on a mission. It's exciting. So that's something and it's fun because you get to pick from any possibilities that matches this. Who can bring, Miss Angela to life? So yes, I'm going to have to think about it.
Yeah. My books come to me in a dream. So generally, I have a picture of my characters in my head because they're coming to me visually. How is your motivation? I hate to use that word because of the motivation book, but who is your muse, or what is your muse? What do you do? What provides the inspiration for these things to you?
Each book's a little different. I have had books that I have a scene that pops into my head that I think's amazing, and I run with that. I can tell you, I have a zombie book, post-apocalyptic, and it's called Recruited. So this one's a short novella that kicks off this trilogy. And basically the story actually came about. I had a vision of, hot girls sitting outside a bikini, drinking, margaritas as zombies are doing landscaping. That's kind of, and I remember being on a Sunday morning going like, that is the strangest thing that has popped into my head, and writing it down because I couldn't stop giggling. And the zombies were being controlled by her cat, who happens to be her familiar. I was like, what if this girl happens to be a witch and is one of the few surviving members of humanity and happens to have a cat that's a familiar that can control zombie, and they're doing the landscaping,
So how much LSD have you done in your lifetime?
A person who doesn't do drugs. I'm sure people are like, what? we should question that. But that chapter is probably one of my favorite ones because as she's watching the zombies, you've got a whole bunch of dead people with power tools. One chops his head off, and they're like, maybe you should give power tools to zombies. And, the cat comes running out, and he's like, do you want to do the lawn? She goes, I'm not. He's like, then don't complain. I'm like, I need a new zombie. So they're looking around like this entire field of dead people just walking around, attacking. And she's just like hanging out in a bikini going, I'm not doing landscaping, so you need to figure it out and stop having them chop it to pieces.
This is a perfect example of why I try not to learn too much about my guests before I have them on, and why I don't script things. Who the heck would have ever thought we'd get to zombies from Monday Motivations, right?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.
So this is the fun part about being a multi-genre author, is because you get the freedom just to experience and have a blast. So this is one of those stories that it just makes me giggle because I thought it was really funny. But when I started writing my motivations, I've written 5 novels in terms of my zombies. I have, demons and all this stuff and all these stories, all these battles. And then having to write motivation, I was like, do I have permission to write that? Because I write kind of dark. Is that going to be allowed? And my readership was so amazing and so welcoming. It's like, yes, but you always have motivation in your books. There's always inspiration. There's always that hope.
There's a commonality thread there. Like I said about my terrorism book, my other books, excuse me, frog in my throat now. Constitutionalist politics show, so a couple of my books are Christian based. Even my Terror Strikes book, it's not a traditional or fluffy kind of Christian book, but it still is, and like I said there too, hope and faith in there, really more than about death and destruction. So I have a commonality thread even in my various odd different shapes and genres too. So I understand where you're coming from there, and that's great. It ties it again all back to the beginning, to the Monday motivations. Now again, we're recording in January, not sure when this will drop in the future. So rather than say, how long has the book been out, Monday Motivations, when did Monday Motivations drop?
This book originally was a Kickstarter campaign, so it had come out at the beginning of last year. The actual
2024.
Right, so it was 2024 that the book actually was out. The actual print for publication for everybody else came out, I want to say, November of 2024. So it took a while for actually to be available in most markets. So it was available specifically for Kickstarter first. It had a whole different cover for all my backers, so that were amazing. So yes.
Oh, yeah, you had a light go out there, huh?
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of weird.
The place is haunted. There's your next book, a ghost that's...
I just don't want it to mess with my lights. I'm like, don't touch the lights.
So people can find your books the usual places, Amazon and all that, yes?
Absolutely.
I know the answer, but do you have your own website?
I do.
Tee that one up.
I know, that's pretty good, pretty smooth. I usually recommend people to check out dcgomez-author.com. Easiest way to check out what's available. Also to figure out what sites, socials, if they're trying to follow me, if they have questions. And also if they're interested in getting a free short story, you can pick it up on my website. It's available only on the website. So you can get Bloodline. It's a little dark, a little bit, urban fantasy taste, so you can get a feel to what I write. sign up, and then it will sign you up for the newsletter so you can get many more Monday motivations from me.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Can you let cat lady, can you let the cat out of the bag on what you're currently working on, or has it got to be hush hush?
No, I actually have going to attempt my very first love story romance coming out for this fall. So it's called
Doesn't
Sugar.
involve a cat lady though, huh?
It has a cat, so it has cats. It
So there's
involves,
another theme, it seems.
I have tons of cats in my book. So it's called Sugar Plums and Death's Intern. It is a standalone novel in my Reaper's universe. So for anybody who enjoys urban fantasy, the premise is really, really fun. Is Bob doesn't believe in love until he met her. Too bad she's a ghost. So this is kind
Oh, I was joking about the ghost and the light. So there is a ghost already involved.
of ghost. I was like,
That-
yeah.
I knew that because I'm psychotic. I mean, psychic.
We should work in those skills. Little less,
Yeah.
little less. You're giving away all of my tricks today. What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I always try to work in that psychic/psychotic joke. And I'm known as Jokester Joe on Savage Unfiltered. I can never avoid a lame pun and wordplay. So,
It works out very well.
do you play games like that? A little bit of wordplay? Do you invent any terms?
Every once in a while, I'll throw in some Latin in my books. I'm just not sure if my readers have figured out that I'm not that great at making up words. I just pick like Latin and then just throw it in there. It's like eventually somebody will realize that it's just actually legit a language and not me just making up things. So I'm waiting for it to happen.
Uh-huh. So you're not so obvious Latin like e pluribus unum, though. At least not
Typical.
yet. Yeah, that happens to be an article I've recently dropped about rather than DEI. We already have diversity inclusion. It's called e pluribus unum, natural from many one, right? We blend the great melting pot. We come together, create our own from our other cultures and heritages, blend to our own new, unique American culture.
That's really good. Nice job.
Or that's the way it's supposed to be working. There's a whole lot of people trying to upset the apple cart in creating division rather than that melting pot and coming together type thing.
I agree with you. But I love the fact that you're creating an article to bring it together. So that is beautiful.
Right. Yeah, it just dawned on me there. And again, I don't want this interview to turn into all about me and my writings. But yeah, I just that DEI stuff keeps getting pushed. It's like, we already have e pluribus unum. How about we focus on that instead of inventing cultural Marxist terminology because again, people are using it as a divider, and I take it like, again, Monday motivations. It's motivational. It's positive. It's trying to bring people together to bring it back to you, right?
Amen. We need those common things, and we need to remember that we're much more alike than we're different, and that we all suffer, that we all have these things, and that we all lift ourselves up. Very similar. So sometimes remembering that we're not alone makes this journey so much easier.
Yeah, Christian show. We're all human, frail, imperfect, flawed individuals, have bad. So some days, every day's a bad day. But even those of us who want to sow good in the world, hey, we can have a bad day on occasion, which brings us back to, again, we're recording the week of Martin Luther King Jr., right? Content of character, and don't judge the book by the cover, even though books people do judge by the cover first. If you don't got a good cover, they ain't going to look at anything else. But as far as people go, yeah, and we've got to remember that a first impression may not always be the right impression. They may be having a bad day, yes?
That is very true. Sometimes we have to give ourselves and others grace. I think sometimes we're better at giving other people grace, but we forget to do it to ourselves. And we tend to tear ourselves down and be so judgmental to the things. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all not going to be perfect all the time. It is okay to give yourself permission to say, I screwed up, I'm sorry, or I'm doing the best I can. And this is as good as it's going to get. I'm trying. Sometimes I think we forget that.
Yeah, again, to motivation, as long as we're wanting and attempting to bring good and positivity, you use the perfect word there, obviously, for the Christian show, grace. So we'll go ahead and end it on that. That was great. Thank you for your time, D.C. Gomez. And again, it'll be listed in the extended show notes, which are in the transcript at Buzzsprout for the episode, your website, DC Gomez dash, not underscore, dash, DC Gomez dash author.com. Yes?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you so much, Joseph, and have an amazing day.
Thanks, you too. Take care. God bless.
Bye.
Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come, but for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Podcast fans, get more about your favorite podcasts via deepcast.fm. Transcripts, and all kinds of extra available information on your favorite podcast, including Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, is listed at deepcast.fm, as well as, are you a podcaster? Well, you can claim your free listing and more via Deepcast Pro. Check out tinyurl.com/DeepcastPro for podcasters for your free listing, and that's the number 4 in there. tinyurl.com/DeepcastPro for podcasters, the number 4. DeepcastPro, the number 4 podcasters, via tinyurl.com extension. Take care, all. You gotta check them out. Get more out of your podcast, whether you're the podcaster or the podcastee. Yeah, I think I just invented that word. Just wanted to give a brief shout out and thank you to all the folks on iHeartRadio, Player FM, being 2 in the top 3 platforms that my show, Constitutionalist Politics, is most often listened. So thank you all. Take care. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Thayrone X. On the Edge, Thayrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Thayrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.